From Hasbro and Transformers Rise of the Beast, this is the Beast Alliance Mirage and Scourge. Basically, these are 3-step changers, more or less 7-step changers, just very simplified versions of the main cast. These weren't supposed to be the main line, these weren't their deluxe equivalent. These were just nice and simple pocket money toys that were still more advanced than a gimmick figure outright. There were a couple of cool figures from this line. I'm very curious about Mirage and Scourge, just because at the end of the day, I really like their designs the most out of most of the Rise of the Beast looks. But as you can see on the front, you can just see robot mode, vehicle mode. Mirage looks decent. He's kind of hiding behind the box, it looks like. And then on the back, just same thing. But that's that. Let's actually get these guys out of the box. Taking a look at these two in vehicle mode, and I do like Mirage more than Scourge. I think Scourge is just a bit dull. But Scourge also has a little bit more paint to him. Let's give it a once over to both. This is the first time I've talked about Rise of the Beast Mirage, and I feel like I have to talk about it here because people are going to ask me in the comments. I don't really care that they use the Mirage name instead of Jazz. Yes, it is similar to Jazz's vehicle mode. It's the same make, if not the same model. That said, I also think it's fine for it to be a different character. I know that the whole reason this isn't Jazz is because of Bonaventura, and Bonaventura, there's so many egregious things wrong with that producer that I don't know why we need to focus in on this one in particular. But at the end of the day, I like the character, I like the design, and this car mode looks decent. There's really not that much paint, just the windshield, and then here, this blue stripe up the front. And then they also did get the tail lights, that's nice. But yeah, a decent, simple little car. Kind of reminds me of the Authentics in all honesty, but overall, decent. And then there's Scourge. Scourge has had some issues in terms of toys just because, due to the nature of Rise of the Beast, they went through a lot of very quick design changes before the movie actually went out, so most of Scourge's toys are inaccurate. I like the Studio Series one, I want the Yellow Park one. This guy, he is working on a much older design, which is why he has this green color, but overall, I think it looks okay from some angles. I mean, you look from the front, and it's like, yeah, that's that awesome monster semi-truck that we saw. Here in the back, though, yeah, those are definitely arms and feet, but, you know, simple gimmick toy, there's only so much you can do to hide that. Those are our vehicle modes, but let's check out robot modes. In robot mode, these two really remind me of the fast action battlers that came out for the first movie in Revenge of the Fallen. They have a similar emphasis on stylized proportions to allow for that easier transformation, but at the same time, I don't think that makes these bad figures. Simpler, yes. Intended for children, absolutely, but there's still a good bit to like here, especially with the Mirage. Mirage is working with a very limited paint budget, and yet, it's kind of working for me. Orange, blue, a little bit of black, a little bit of gun silver. It works throughout the entire body. He could have come out looking really cheap and unpainted, and he could have used more paint, don't get me wrong, but for a $7 figure, or at least $7 when I got him, this works for me. He has a decent gimmick too. You switch the hand around, and boom, he has a cannon. I like that. And the best part is, it doesn't interfere with the sculpt too much. That just looks like his arm still. His articulation is limited. You have nothing in the head, but you have a ball joint in the shoulder, as well as an up and down hinge due to transformation. You have a waist swivel, and you have a ball joint at the hip, and you have a knee. So, a decent suite of articulation, and a decent looking robot mode. Again, I think a big thing to keep in mind is that this was not the main line. This wasn't Studio Series, this wasn't even the deluxes for the movie. These were just supposed to be the equivalent of the fast action battlers. Simple Transformers for cheap for kids. And in that way, I'm very impressed with Mirage. I think he came out really well, all things considered. A good, chunky looking robot mode, good articulation, solid paint, transformation that works. I have an issue with the backpack, don't get me wrong, that's not super great, but it's a character I like from a movie that I thought was okay, and I think this toy is perfectly fine. I went in with such shallow expectations, saying that this was going to be garbage, that in all honesty, the fact that it's actually kind of decent, it's making me like it a lot more than I probably should. Scourge is pretty solid all things considered as well. He has a little bit less articulation, nothing in the head, ball joint at the shoulder, and nothing else. You do have waist though, and a ball joint at the hip, no knee either. But in exchange, you get a much larger robot, very beefy. You have the weird monster arm of his, and you have a cool gimmick with this blade. You can either have it sticking straight out, or have it like he's holding a knife. It's simple, but it works, and you can see how creepy his fingers are on this side as well. The head sculpt also really works for me. I really like Scourge's design from Rise of the Beast, and I think that this was a decent attempt at getting his head sculpt across. Both of these figures actually have good head sculpts. I didn't even notice how detailed Mirage's head sculpt was until I saw it with the zoom-in lens, but you can see they got some of his stranger face design inside the sculpt. All I'm saying is, these are not the best figures ever, nor were they intended to be the best figures ever. They were half the price of deluxes when they came out. They were about the same price as a core class. But I think that they used their budget well. They took away from the paint of the core class, sure, but then they made themselves larger. They made the transformations a little bit more intricate. They gave themselves larger gimmicks like the weapon arms. I think that this was a good kids line, and it gave us a good Mirage and a good Scourge. Just for fun, here they are alongside a couple of the other LA design team Transformers. We have the mainline TF1 Optimus, as well as the Beast Alliance RC with Cheetor. This would have been the equivalent to the mainline Deluxe RC, but they never got a single release. As you can see, they don't blend in. Well, I say that, Scourge doesn't blend in. Mirage actually looks decent with that RC. Totally out of scale in terms of the movie, but in terms of just having a toy shelf and what character feels like they should be taller, I'm kind of okay with that. I would put this Mirage with my normal Rise of the Beast toys. He fits in pretty well. Scourge, maybe if I put him next to Studio Series Scorponok, and then he could kind of blend in as just one of that big army at the end. You know what? No, I'm selling myself more on that Scourge. That could be a decent army builder if you wanted to. Nah, I'm going too far with this. Don't army build Scourge. Save your money. Like, get one Scourge. One Scourge is great, but don't let me be the idiot telling you buy 20 Scourges and then you can have a really cool Rise of the Beast display. No, that's a bad Ron bondage on, but that's a good Scourge. This pair exceeded my expectations, low though they were. And I can honestly say that if you just have a little bit of money burning a hole in your pocket, or if you have a younger Transformers fan in your life, these two are solid. Mirage is the better figure in general, but Scourge does have some better play value if you're just looking for a cool design or more of a monster bot. And overall, both of them are decent pocket money toys.